Hello, my name's Jeremy Chambers. I am the owner, operator, and dreamer here at Independence Acres Homestead, and I want to thank you for joining us for our first ever YouTube video. I want to take this opportunity to first of all introduce myself and my family, let you know a little bit about us, who we are, where we come from, why we decided to begin homesteading, and also to let you know what you can expect to see on our videos here in the future. Well, first of all, I am a 40-something dreamer who works in advanced technology during the day and comes home to a little bit more laid-back lifestyle here in the evenings. We first bought our property here in 2010 in the middle of the housing crash here in Michigan. Well, it's kind of at the bottom part of the housing crash here in Michigan. We were originally living in a small ranch in a major suburb of Detroit, and as the neighborhood prices went down, so did the quality of living in the area. Just a lot of things were going on in the community that we weren't particularly fond of raising our two boys in that we had at the time. So in 2010 we decided it was time to move on, and we were able to secure a wonderful 100-year-old farmhouse on 5 acres of land in a very rural part of St. Clair County, Michigan. We got it for a little bit of a song and a dance. Of course, being a 100-year-old home, it did require a lot of work and still needs a lot of work in order to get it where we want it. But the very first thing we did once we moved in was build a chicken tractor. We were ready to begin becoming just a little bit more self-sufficient. And that was part of the reason why we looked for a home with property. Well, also at that time, well, I'll be honest, myself and I, not necessarily my wife or my children, was big into prepping and survival. You know, there were a lot of things going on, a lot of unrest within the country at the time, and I kind of fell into that wave that was crashing over the middle class of America at that time, and we began, storing food, and we began, like I said, with chickens for eggs and meat, trying to find ways to become a little bit more self-sufficient and a little bit more independent of the systems that support our society right now. And we're still on grid as far as that goes, and we still go to the grocery store on a regular basis. We still drive gas cars, but we've taken a few small steps to reduce our overall impact on the overall impact that society has on us, but also to increase our ability to have an impact on society in certain areas. So as I said, our journey kind of started swinging towards homesteading with the acquisition of our chickens, and then from there we started a garden, and then from there got bad at gardening because it's not easy. It's not just easy as plant the seeds, watch things grow, reap the harvest. There's a lot of other things that are involved in that we've had to learn along the way. We've dabbled in pigs. We had some last year to help clean up the garden. But our main thing we've been focusing on over the last few years is rabbits. Rabbits specifically as a sustainable, high-quality protein source on a homestead. I'm the kind of person that when I have an idea about doing something, kind of throw myself into it wholehearted. I don't just dabble and stick my toe in and see how the water is. I just jump in head first, learn as much as I possibly can, and then do what I can to share that knowledge with others. So here on our homestead there is me, my wife, and my 3 boys. 3 boys make it easier to get some work done around here, but also makes it harder to get some work done around here sometimes. But the reason why we began homesteading, as I said, I started off kind of the survival prepper kind of vein of thought, but as things went on, I began to realize that there's so much more than just having a get home bag. There's just so much more than having, caches. There's so much more than having, guns and ammunition and MREs and stuff of that nature. All that's great, and it's a great start, but we were looking more for sustainability. But then as time goes on, it became more about establishing a way of life for our boys, giving them an opportunity to learn skills that they might not otherwise have a chance to learn, giving them an opportunity to do things that society might not necessarily smile upon sometimes. The idea and concept of growing, processing your own meats is not something that is highly acceptable in society anymore. We get told all the time, why don't you just go to the grocery store and buy the meat that you need? Well, because I can grow my own food. I have that ability. I have that capability, and I have been able to acquire that knowledge. And so our desire is for our homestead to be a learning place, a place of growth for others, not just for us, but to create a community of people who are learning and growing together. I will never be an expert in everything, but there are people that I can surround myself with who can be experts. I've met some wonderful people just in our own neighborhood by doing some of the activities that we do as homesteaders with our meat rabbits, with what we're doing right here, maple syrup. It is coming to the end of maple syrup season, and it's been a good season for us, but it's been a hard and fast season. But it's kind of made itself to be a little longer than what we expected. But this is something I would have never seen myself doing 10, even 5 years ago. When the idea first came about, I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. Put a hole in a tree, get the syrup, boil it down to make sap. That's crazy speak. Well, here I am staying up till 1, 2 in the morning boiling down my sap in order to get my maple syrup. And once again, it's not because it is necessarily financially rewarding. It's mostly because it's a connection with the land that we've lost in our society. It's a connection with those skills and that understanding of what it was like to eke out a living, to eke out your needs, your wants, your desires, scraping it out of the dirt and out of the land. It's that idea is kind of what we're holding on to here, and what it is that we're striving for. Not necessarily, it's been said you're never going to get rich in homesteading, unless you come up with a new process or write a book or something of that nature. But for us, it's not about making money. It's about making an impact on the lives of our children, making an impact on the community around us, and being able to share the knowledge that we've learned, but also to humbly submit ourselves to the teaching and understanding of others, so that we can grow as people, as parents, and as children. So, what can you expect to see here on our YouTube channel? Well, we're going to go over some maple syrup production within the next day or two here, as we finish up our season here. Just go over some of the basics for those of you that have never done it before. You're going to see a lot of videos about meat rabbit, about breeding, animal husbandry, genetics, basic everyday care for rabbits here on the homestead. We'll even get into processing, the tools that we use, why we use them, and we'll talk about chickens and chicks and gardening as the season goes on here. We're just finished with a rough season in the garden. We had pigs last year to clean it up, till the garden, take care of a bunch of weeds that we had growing. Now it's time for us to get started again. We're going to share that journey with you guys. We have got a lot of pie in the sky ideas, as you might say, but we have a lot of solid grounded ideas also that we are going to have happen here on the homestead. And some days we'll just bring you along for some fun, enjoyable trips as we go visit other homesteaders in the area, because once again, homesteading is about creating that community. In order to be able to share our knowledge, to learn from others, to be able to barter and exchange goods and services, and like I said, ideas and knowledge. Some people have asked me, what's the most important thing you've invested in as a homesteader? Number one thing that's most important that I've invested in as a homesteader is knowledge. Whether it's books, whether it's time spent learning from others, whether it's time sharing what I know with others, knowledge is going to be your first investment. It doesn't matter how big your property is. It doesn't matter how big your pocketbook is. It doesn't matter how big your house is, or how big your garden is, or how big your chicken flock is, or your animal herds. What matters is your knowledge and your ability to gain it, share it, and use it. It's that application of the knowledge that you learn is where your growth will occur as a homesteader. So anyways, I just wanted to thank you once again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you interacting with our posts here on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook at Independence Acres Homestead. So if you would like and subscribe to our channel, also find us on Facebook, and follow us. We'll be sharing all of our videos here on YouTube and on Facebook. And until then, I just wanted to say, have a good evening. God bless.